Hello guys, welcome to my channel. If you haven't connected me with yet on Telegram, Instagram and Facebook, then please do it. To get the free PDF of this lecture, you can get it from my Telegram channel. And do like, share and subscribe my channel. Guys, we have already studied about second messenger system in depth in our previous video lecture, and also the chemical structure and the mechanism of action of hormones, right? So if you haven't seen that video yet, then please do check out. Today we are going to study about pituitary gland and its hormones. So the pituitary gland lies in a bony walled cavity, the sella turcica of the sphenoid bone at the base of the skull, as you can see here, and is closely associated with hypothalamus of the brain. The pituitary gland originates in early embryonic life from two sources. Adenohypophysis, which is the anterior lobe of pituitary. Here you can see the pink part. In the last figure, you can see the pink part, that is our anterior lobe of pituitary. It is formed from Rathke's pouch. Okay, in the second figure, you can see the Rathke's pouch. And it grows dorsally, where it meets with neurohypophysis. The yellow part is the posterior lobe of pituitary. Okay, so which is also called neurohypophysis, and it is derived from downward growth of infundibular process. You can see the infundibular process in the first diagram, right? So to sum it up, adenohypophysis or the anterior lobe of pituitary grows from Rathke's pouch, and neurohypophysis, the posterior lobe of pituitary, grows from infundibular process. Now the anterior pituitary has 5 specific cell types, okay? Somatotrophs, which produces growth hormone, and they are subclass of the acidophilic cell group, okay? Lactotrophs, they produces prolactin, and they are also belong to acidophilic type of cells. Then comes corticotrophs, they produces ACTH and MSH, and they are basophilic. They belong to the basophilic group. Then thyrotrophs, which produces TSH, and they belong to basophilic group. Gonadotrophs, they produces FSH, LH, and they are also belong to basophilic. Now posterior pituitary has pituicides and non-myelinated fibers. Guys, question have been asked from these things in anatomy section, so please pay attention and remember it, okay? Which are acidophilic and which are basophilic, okay? So that you have to remember, and also about the posterior pituitary. Luckily, I was able to find this clear slide. Here we can see this basophils, okay? The purplish area you can see, okay? I'm not talking about purplish dots, but the purplish area are the basophils. Acidophils are the light pinkish area, okay? It shows acidophils. And the chromophobes are the purple dots or the circles you can see clearly. Those are chromophobes. So in NEET 2018 and 17, 2 questions I found from this particular topic of the histology and the pathological cells of pituitary. First was, which type of cells are found in pars nervosa, which is a posterior lobe of pituitary. So those cells are pituicides. And the similar question to that was, anterior pituitary contains all type of cells except. So guys, you should know that acidophil, basophil and chromatophobes, as we have seen in the previous slide, they are present in anterior pituitary, and pituicides are present in posterior lobe of pituitary. Now hormones secreted by pituitary. So here you can see growth hormone, which works on bones, muscles and organs. Obviously it is important for the growth of our body. Then comes the prolactin. It is involved with lactation. Then the FSH and LH. These both hormones are having particular effect in male as well as in female. Okay, so first we'll see of male. In male, FSH stimulates Sertoli cells of testes, okay, and it causes the spermatogenesis, and LH stimulate Leydig cells to secrete testosterone. So to simplify it, you can remember it as LL, okay. LH है तो Leydig cells को stimulate कर रहा है. So FSH will stimulate Sertoli cells. And in the female, FSH stimulate follicular cells to promote development of ovarian follicles. Okay, FSH, F for follicle. So this is easy to remember that way. And LH stimulate corpus luteum. Okay, so remember it as LH है तो luteum को, corpus luteum को वो stimulate कर रहा है. And secretion of progesterone and some estrogen. Then comes the ACTH. It stimulates the adrenal cortex to release the cortical hormones, and the TSH, it stimulates the thyroid gland to release the thyroid hormones, right? And from the posterior lobe of pituitary, we have two hormones, vasopressin, which is also called as ADH, and oxytocin. So oxytocin contracts the uterus, and it is also associated with ejection of milk. You can clearly see in the diagram, right? And vasopressin, it is associated with kidney, and it decreases the rate of urine formation. We will learn about each hormone in detail in the coming slides, okay? And the middle portion of pituitary is also there. So middle lobe, it secretes MSH. It is not shown here in the diagram, but we will see it further, okay? So coming to the hypothalamic control of pituitary secretions, okay, almost all the secretion by the pituitary is controlled by either hormonal or nervous signals from hypothalamus. Secretion by anterior pituitary is controlled by hormones called hypothalamic releasing and hypothalamic inhibiting hormones, okay. So you can see ACTH, okay, it is associated with what? Secretion or release of the hormones from the adrenal cortex. Similarly TSH, वो stimulate करता है thyroid को ताकि thyroid hormone secrete हो, ठीक है. Then growth hormone, so it stimulates the liver. So basically these hormones are stimulating, okay. And but in the case of prolactin, okay, most of the anterior pituitary hormones, it is releasing hormone, as I said, but prolactin is mainly under inhibitory control. So therefore, if a damage to pituitary stalk, it causes the reduction in all the anterior pituitary hormones, right, as all the other pituitary hormones are secreting or releasing hormones except prolactin, okay, because it is under inhibitory control. So damage to pituitary stalk causes reduction in all the anterior pituitary hormone except prolactin, which is released. So this question has been asked twice in JIPMER, okay, so you have to really pay attention to this thing. Now coming to the growth hormone, which is also known as somatotropin, and it is a polypeptide. It is secreted by somatotropes, which are subpopulation of acidophils, as we have studied earlier, right? Now effect of growth hormone on skeletal growth, as well as it has effect on the regulation of metabolism. So stimulation of the skeletal growth. Here we can see effect of growth hormone on skeletal growth is mediated by somatomedins, okay, which are insulin-like growth factors. You can see it over here. These are insulin-like growth factors, okay. They are synthesized in liver, right? Over here they are synthesized in liver. Growth hormone through IGF-1 stimulates proliferation of chondrocytes and osteocytes. resulting in increased deposition of chondroitin sulfate in cartilage and increased ossification of newly formed cartilages, right? The diagram is self-explanatory. You just have to remember कि growth hormone is stimulating the liver to produce insulin-like growth factors, okay? The other name of which is somatomedins, okay? Do remember it. And it will further stimulate the chondrocytes, osteoblast and osteoclast to do its further function, right? Regulation of metabolism. Protein metabolism. Growth hormone has predominantly anabolic effect on skeletal and cardiac muscle, where it promotes amino acid transport into cells and increases protein synthesis. Guys, this type of questions are asked in biochemistry, okay? So you have to pay attention about this growth hormone and its effect on metabolism, okay? It has predominantly anabolic effect, so it will increase the protein synthesis. Just remember this. Then carbohydrates and fat. Growth hormone has anti-insulin effect, whereas somatomedins, okay, IGF-1, it produces insulin-like effects. So this is a very important point, guys. You have to remember it or note it down in your notes. Anti-insulin effect. Decreased peripheral. What is anti-insulin effect? So as the name suggests, what does insulin do? Insulin carries the blood glucose to the respected cells in our body, right? तो एंटी इंसुलिन इफेक्ट में क्या होगा? उसका अपोजिट. देयर इज डिक्रीज्ड पेरिफेरल यूटिलाइजेशन ऑफ ग्लूकोज. वो सेल्स को जो ग्लूकोज अवेलेबल है ब्लड में उसे यूटिलाइज नहीं करने देगा, ओके? ग्रोथ हार्मोन एंड इट विल डू द इंक्रीज्ड ग्लूकोनियोजेनेसिस, ओके? सो ब्रेक दिस वर्ड, ग्लूकोनियोजेनेसिस मतलब नया ग्लूकोज प्रोड्यूस करेगा वो. It won't allow the utilization of the peripheral glucose which is available in the blood, and hyperglycemia and lipolysis. Obviously it will not allow the blood glucose to get utilized, so क्या होगा? Hyperglycemia, blood का glucose बढ़ जाएगा ना, and there will be lipolysis, that is breakdown of fats. And due to its anti-insulin effect, growth hormone excess, okay, it can cause insulin resistant diabetes mellitus. So guys, if you understand this one word correctly ना कि anti-insulin effect क्या होता है, it is exactly opposite to insulin, and then you will understand all the steps and the MCQs asked from it, right? Insulin-like effect due to somatomedins, which are IGF-1, okay? वो कहाँ से हमें मिल रहा था? From the liver. Liver was producing IGF-1. So they include anti-lipolytic activity, okay? IGF-1 versus ग्रोथ हार्मोन है, ठीक है? ग्रोथ हार्मोन का एक्शन है एंटी इंसुलिन और IGF-1 यानी कि सोमेटोमिडिन्स का एक्शन है ग्लूकोज लाइक. तो ग्रोथ हार्मोन वाज लिपोलिटिक, सो IGF-1 will do anti-lipolytic activity and other insulin like effects, okay? So just remember this one equation and you can solve all these MCQs related to this very easily. Now stimuli that increase growth hormone, ठीक है? Hypoglycemia, exercise, fasting, protein meals, stress, glucagon, pyrogen, lysine, vasopressin. All this will increase the secretion of growth hormone, while stimuli that decreases secretion of growth hormone are REM sleep, that is rapid eye movement sleep, glucose, somatostatin, cortisol, free fatty acids, IGF-1, which is a somatomedin, okay? Growth hormone deficiency in early life causes dwarfism, okay? And growth hormone excess in early life leads to gigantism. Both this effect are seen with early life, okay? Whereas growth hormone excess in adulthood leads to acromegaly. So acromegaly in adult life में अगर growth hormone excess है तो acromegaly होगा. So remember it as confusion ना हो इसलिए AA, ठीक है, adult life acromegaly. Now coming to prolactin. Prolactin is structurally similar to growth hormone, physiologically involved in lactation, and it induces and maintains lactation by stimulating synthesis of milk. Only pituitary hormone, which is primarily under inhibitory control of hypothalamus. Okay, this question was asked in Chipmar, as I said earlier, twice. So here you can see prolactin is associated with milk production, and oxytocin, which is released by posterior lobe of pituitary, so it is associated with milk ejection. Okay, dropping down of milk is with oxytocin and prolactin is with milk production. Posterior pituitary hormones. Here three important points which you have to remember. Okay, posterior pituitary hormones हमें पता है क्या है, ADH and oxytocin. Okay, so they are actually synthesized in hypothalamus. Okay, they are not synthesized in the pituitary but they are synthesized in hypothalamus. Then second point is they are transported from hypothalamus to posterior pituitary in secretory granules called herring bodies. Third thing, pituiticides are glial cells in posterior pituitary which assist in storage and release of ADH and oxytocin. Okay, so basically ADH and oxytocin का storage कहाँ पे है, hypothalamus में, वहाँ से they are brought into our posterior pituitary, right? So those secretory granules in which they are carried are herring bodies. And pituiticides are glial cells in posterior pituitary. So वहाँ पे oxytocin और ADH का storage and release is done via posterior pituitary. तो वहाँ पे which cells are there? Pituiticides. Now ADH, which is also called as vasopressin. Okay, so it is having two type of receptors. Physiological function of ADH, that is antidiuretic hormone, are based on different receptors. Okay, so V1 receptor, what does it do? Basically it does the vasoconstriction, so it increases the systemic vascular resistance and in turn increases the arterial pressure. While V2 receptor, it is associated with vasodilation and it works on kidney and it increases the water permeability. Okay, and as it dilates the blood vessels, it increases the blood volume, right? And in turn arterial pressure will increase. Now regulation of antidiuretic hormone release. So basically the stimuli for which is increased blood osmolality. Okay, it occurs due to either dehydration or salt ingestion. Okay, so either of this condition there would be increased in the blood osmolality which in turn activate the osmoreceptors in hypothalamus. Now hypothalamus दो तरह के effect exert करेगा. On the posterior pituitary, it will tell ADH की जाओ release हो और काम करो kidney पे because blood की osmolality बढ़ गई है. तो kidney पे ADH work करेगा mainly DCT और CD यानी कि distal convoluted tubule और collecting duct पे. Okay, and it will increase the water reabsorption, right, and it will form the concentrated urine. जो ब्लड है जो वाटर है उसको वो रीअब्जॉर्ब कर लेगा डीसीटी और कलेक्टिंग डक्ट से. सो व्हाट वुड बी लेफ्ट इज कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड यूरिन, राइट. और दूसरा इफेक्ट हाइपोथैलेमस अपने थर्स्ट सेंटर को स्टिमुलेट करेगा. सो वी विल ड्रिंक मोर वाटर and eventually by both of these processes blood volume will increase and blood osmolality will decrease. Coming to the oxytocin, it is a nanopeptide. It is synthesized in paraventricular nucleus. Guys, this is also important. Okay, I have seen few MCQs regarding this. increases force and frequency of uterine contraction during labor, and it is associated with milk ejection. Okay, prolactin was with milk production, oxytocin is with milk ejection and milk letdown reflex. So don't get confused. And it acts on G protein coupled IP3 DAG. Remember guys, this is second messenger system we studied in our previous video lecture. Okay. So guys, I hope this was informative and easy to understand for you all. Our next video lecture would be on calcium metabolism and calciotropic hormones, which is very important to understand and important from your exam point of view as well. So stay tuned and thank you so much. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet, and do like it and share it with your friends. Thank you.